Hi y'all, it's Suzanne. Welcome to our fourth journaling entry for February. This month we have focused on relationships, specifically relationship to self, because the way we love ourselves and the way we treat ourselves, that sets the bar and is baseline for how others treat us. Today we're going to walk through our first three journal entries and recap. Following that, my hope is that you will take some quiet time, really focus on self-love, and journal about what focusing on self-love this month has meant to you. Let's get started. So throughout February, we often think of relationships. Because of Valentine's Day, I really wanted to focus on relationship to self this month, because when we love ourselves well, not only does it teach others how to love us, but it also teaches us how to love others better. When we love ourselves well and we can feel that self-love in our own hearts, it allows us to love the people around us a little more deeply. It strengthens the relationships because we love better, and in turn, we are loved back better. So week one, I asked you to think about at least three things you love about yourself. And if you recall, I shared that if you couldn't find three things that you love about yourself, that you're definitely selling yourself short. I also asked that throughout the month you look in the mirror every day, tell yourself you love these things about yourself, and express gratitude. I hoped that what you would find is that the things you love about yourself grow, along with your overall gratitude. Keep doing that every morning. Get up, look in the mirror, tell yourself the things about yourself that you love. Express gratitude to yourself. And think about those things. How do they make other people feel? It could be a characteristic. It could be how you make people feel. It could be how deeply you love. It could be something about the way you look. It could be your work ethic. So I'll just cover briefly a few of the things I loved about myself that I also mentioned in journaling session one. So I love my Asian green eyes. When I'm happy or sad, they turn green. Asian green is just a light brown, but you'll often hear me or my brother refer to Asian green. It's kind of an inside joke. What I love about my Asian green eyes is that because they lighten when I'm happy or when I'm sad, I can't hide my emotions. So folks often know how I'm feeling. I love that I'm able to be alone. I've spent many years traveling for work, and that has allowed me to develop a level of comfortability in being alone. I don't have to be surrounded by other people. I'm able to sit with my own thoughts. I'm able to enjoy my own company. I don't feel lonely when I'm alone. I think oftentimes people feel lonely when they're alone, but that is something that we can move past. I also love being alone. It gives me the opportunity to explore in my own way. It also gives me the opportunity to meet other people, which is a lot of fun. So sometimes when I'm alone, I just want to be alone. Sometimes when I'm alone, I want to meet other people. I love that I love deeply, and I've learned through noticing how deeply I love that I need to be surrounded by other people who have the same capacity to love. Part of self-love for me is doing things with passion and doing them well. Because if I don't do it with passion, I might not do it well. So I'm always going to look for the good in everything that I'm doing so that I'm able to do it with passion. And that's part of self-love, because anything that I do, I want to know that I'm doing it well. I do look for the good in every situation, in every person I run across. And sometimes that means looking for the lesson as it comes my way. I am a lifelong learner. I always want to learn about everything going on around me. I want to know what's going on in the world. I want to learn new technology. I want to feel that I am current, but I also want to learn so that I can be more productive and share what I learn with others. Through my own life experiences, I feel that I'm able to learn and grow, to take my life lessons and help other people along the way. If I can learn from my own experiences and put that into action, then I become a better person, and the people around me are also able to draw from my experiences. Too often we fall into patterns, and by learning from our experiences, we can break those negative patterns that we don't want to carry forward. I love my happy disposition. I love that I have freckles, and my freckles always remind me of my ginger father, who is no longer with us, but he is someone I love dearly and think of often. And so the freckles that sprinkle the center of my face, they remind me of my daddy. I love that I'm not afraid to ask for what I want. In this life, we may not get the things that we don't ask for. So if there's something that you want, ask for it, because you're that much more likely to get it. Ask for it and justify why. Sometimes things don't need justification. It's simply treating other people with simple kindness and respect. And that is never something we should have to ask for, but it's certainly okay to point it out when it doesn't come our way. I love that I am direct and candid, and as I have aged, I've learned to be a little kinder with my directness and my candor. So I obviously had a good while to think about the things that I love about myself, and I really hope that this month you have done the same, and that through doing that, your love of yourself, the things you acknowledge that you love, are growing. There are at least 3 things. Continue looking at yourself every day, telling yourself you love yourself, telling yourself the things about yourself that you love yourself and why. Express gratitude. Watch your self-love grow. Watch your gratitude grow. Week 2, we talked about self-care. I asked you to think about your self-care regimen and to add at least one thing to your self-care regimen. When it comes to your yoga practice, it might be taking child's pose when you need a break. You may not be comfortable in a pose, you may not like something you're doing, so take child's pose. Maybe it's taking a restore class versus going for the power class. It might be making it to your mat. It might be not coming to your mat one day or not going to the gym one day so that you don't find yourself overtraining. Maybe it's setting time aside to meditate, which should also be part of your yoga practice. So as far as standard regimen, brushing your teeth every morning is part of that. Flossing your teeth, being mindful and having a balanced diet and nutrition, your annual checkups to the doctor, be proactive in your health. Those are different ways that you can take better care of yourself. By taking better care of yourself, again, you teach others how to take care of you, and you teach others how they can better take care of themselves. So some of the things that I do for self-care. I love to travel. So you'll notice that the background I'm in is a little bit different. I am spending this weekend with my best friend of 26 years and her family. I love spending time with these people because there's so much shared love, there's so much history, and there's just a general lifting one another up. When I arrived in my room, there was a unicorn waiting for me. If you know me, you know how much I love unicorns. And sitting on my bed, there's this precious pink, purple, soft, sweet unicorn that I am literally going to sleep with. Now, my new unicorn does not have a name yet, and she will probably live here in Denver, but every time I come visit, I'm gonna have my sweet unicorn friend to sleep with. So travel and spending time with the people that I love, those are ways I take care of myself. Learning is another way I take care of myself. It stimulates the mind and it keeps the mind active. I love the growth that I receive from learning, and I love being able to share what I learn with other people. Manis and pedis, massages, getting Botox done so that I don't feel like I look so old. Those are also ways that I take care of myself. Sometimes I very simply need downtime. I need to be away from everybody. I have a job that requires that I talk to people on a regular basis and that I be on. When I'm in the yoga studio teaching a class or even teaching online, that requires a certain level of presence. And so sometimes my self-care regimen is being away from everybody and doing absolutely nothing except sitting with my creatures. We're all individual. We have different interests. You may be an introvert, whereas I am an extrovert. The things that we do that really make our hearts sing, the things that we do that make ourselves good, those are going to vary depending on who we are, our likes, our dislikes. I'm not personally a gardener. Maybe you are a gardener, and gardening is something that's going to make you feel good about yourself or just make your heart sing. Be mindful to be balanced in the ways you take care of yourself. So think about your mental health, your physical health, your financial health. It's the heart, body, and mind. It's not just the way you look or the way you feel. Maybe you need to invest more into your savings or your retirement fund. Maybe that's what's going to give you financial stability and what you need to focus on. Maybe you're overtraining and need to spend a little less time at the gym. I made an effort after I filmed week 2's journal entry. I made an effort to get more sleep. So turning my phone on Do Not Disturb, if you know me well, it's often on Do Not Disturb, and if you're trying to get me, you have to try multiple times, and that's something I need to be better about for other people. But just going to bed, turning everything off and going to sleep so that I get enough sleep so that I can feel rested and productive the next day. Having had COVID a few weeks ago, I've had this cough that I just can't get rid of. And so I'm not sleeping as soundly as I would like to. So really focusing on sleep is something that was important to me the last few weeks. You know, I shared earlier that I have a generally happy disposition, and I do. But I do have moments where I'm a little down. And there was, I don't know, a week or so this month where I wasn't myself and I was a little bit down. And the best thing I could do to recharge was to take some alone time, to not be around my friends, to not go out, to not leave the house, just staying in, reflecting, spending time with my cats, spending more time on my mat. So that's what I did to take care of myself. As February comes to a close, I want you not only to continue thinking about the things that you love about yourself, but I want you to continue focusing on your self-care regimen. I can't say it enough. The way you love yourself, the way you treat yourself, this sets the bar for how others love and treat you. Love yourself hard, treat yourself well, accept nothing less. Love by example. Week 3, I talked about setting boundaries. Part of self-care is setting boundaries. So self-care is part of self-love, and part of self-care is setting boundaries. We have to set boundaries with ourselves. We have to set boundaries with others, because if we don't, we can just rather run amok as we go throughout our lives. Setting boundaries for me involved stopping what I was doing so that I could get more sleep. It might mean realizing that you're spending too much time on social media. These days, if we look at our phone, it often tells us exactly how we've spent our screen time. Look at your phone sometime and notice how much time you're spending on social media or in email, and maybe you need to pull back a little bit on how much time you're spending in email. Many of us are in these work from home environments now where we never turn it off. On Friday afternoon, about 4:30, I received a voicemail from the CFO of one of my client partners, and he ended the voicemail by saying, "Hey, I'm shutting down. I'll talk to you on Monday." Well, I listened to his voicemail about 6 o'clock, and I was getting ready to call him. But the part of his voicemail that said, "I'm shutting down, I'll talk to you Monday," said, it's okay for me to shut down because he set that boundary saying, "Hey, it's Friday, lady, and I'm done." And I was glad. It gave us both a chance to connect, but also enjoy our weekend, and we will talk first thing Monday morning. One really bad habit that I developed during the pandemic was watching and binging on way too much television. So one of the boundaries I'm setting for myself is I'm trying to not watch so much television. I literally went back and I watched every episode from season 1 of Law and Order SVU. And I've done that with several shows I love. And it was great. But oh my gosh, how much time can one person spend watching television? You know, we live in this world where we multitask and we all have monkey mind, and there are so many things going on. And I've found that watching television is something I started doing while I was working on other things. So I've really made the effort to turn the television off, to turn to reading a little bit more like I used to. Maybe it's, tuning into masterclass or listening to a self-help podcast, but I need to spend a little less time watching television. So that's a boundary that I've set with myself. Spending time alone means saying no to other people, and that can be really, really difficult at times. Nonetheless, it's a good thing to say no. Say no to drama, say no to BS, say no to anything that pulls you in too many different directions. We've talked about work a little bit. Maybe you need to limit the time that you spend with particular individuals because they suck the energy out of you. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you love them less. It just means that you love yourself enough to maintain your energy levels. If you're someone who loves doing for other people, sometimes setting a boundary is with yourself. You need to pause and not do so much for other people because you can spend so much time doing for others that it's to the detriment of yourself. As you move past February, setting boundaries is something else that I want you to focus on. Think about the things you love. Continue to tell yourself why. Continue to express gratitude. Let those things grow. Let your gratitude grow. Think about your self-care regimen and keep track of the things you're doing when you add something, when you take it away, how it makes you feel. Think about those things. Continue adding to your self-care regimen. You should probably visit that at least once a month and set boundaries. Note how you're setting boundaries. That may change from month to month also. During the month of January, I committed to filming a yoga class every day. And so part of setting boundaries for me was I'm not going to go out and do other things because this is something that I committed to doing. It was a promise to myself and a promise to my growing viewership. So you know what? I set that boundary and said, this is where my focus is. I don't have the time or energy to focus on other things if I want to do this well. Sleep. I am setting a boundary that sometimes it's very simply time to go to sleep. I've got to turn the television off. I've got to stop what I'm doing, and I've got to go to sleep. But think about the boundaries you're setting with yourself. Think about the boundaries you're setting with other people. And as February comes to a close, carry these with you throughout this year and just notice how much more you learn to love yourself which will allow you to love others and will allow others to love you a little bit more. Speaking of love, there is so much going on in the world right now. I'm specifically referencing Ukraine and Russia. I want to take a moment to close the eyes and just breathe. And as we spend this quiet time, let's send thoughts of love, peace, and unity to everyone in Ukraine and Russia. My brother, as many of you know, is a journalist, and he works for BBC Minute. And so I love BBC Minute because it's just a really great way to get snippets of news, what's going on around the world. One of the things that I listened to recently was Russia attacking a kindergarten and an orphanage. And, you know, these kids should be playing with unicorns, not being attacked by the military. And that just broke my heart. And that's only one example of what is so needlessly going on. So let's close the eyes, seal the lips, inhale and exhale through the nose. With every inhale, inhale love. With every exhale, send that love out into the universe. Inhale peace, send peace out into the universe. Inhale unity, send unity out into the universe. Inhale mercy, send mercy into the universe. My thoughts are with Ukraine, to every individual, to every family. My parents met during a war, and it was something my mother would never talk about because of the sadness and fear and hurt from that time of her life. I can only imagine what is going on in the Ukraine now and how those individuals must feel. The heartache, the uncertainty. Let's all continue sending our love out there, hoping that this comes to a close soon. Continue to inhale and exhale, focus on the breath, and just think the words that I am saying. I love myself hard. I treat myself well. I accept nothing less. I love myself hard. I treat myself well. I accept nothing less. I love myself hard. I treat myself well. I accept nothing less. And so it is. Gently flutter the eyes open. Bring the hands to heart center. Let's close out this practice together, this journaling practice, with a cleansing breath, sending love, peace, unity, mercy out into the universe. Inhale through the nose, pause. Exhale, forcefully sigh it out. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Set boundaries. Spend time doing the things you love. Love by example. Self-care is part of self-love. Setting boundaries is part of self-care. Love yourself hard. Treat yourself well. Accept nothing less. Thank you so much for joining me. So much love, so much gratitude. Bye.